Welcome back to In Pit Lane. Williams will run the new Cosworth engine in next year's Formula One title, according to the British magazine Autosport. While it was widely tipped that the team would run Renault Power, team boss Frank Williams believes the team would be better served by an independent engine supplier. Marcos Ambrosio has finished 14th in last weekend's NASCAR round at Laos Motor Speedway. Jimmie Johnson won the race as the chase for the NASCAR title continues. But why hear it from me when you can hear about it in the NASCAR newscast?
Jimmie Johnson made history Saturday night, becoming the first driver to win 3 races in the first 5 chase races as he sped to victory in the NASCAR Banking 500 only from Bank of America at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Johnson outran Matt Kenseth to score his 6th career win at the Charlotte track.
For Jimmie Johnson, it's his 3rd win in the chase, his 6th win this season, the 6th time he will take the checkered flag at Lowe's Motor Speedway as Jimmie Johnson drives to victory tonight in the NASCAR Banking 500 only from Bank of America.
Matt Kenseth winds up the runner-up, Casey Kane 3rd, Jeff Gordon 4th, barely holding off Joey Logano. Outstanding night as the teenager finishes 5th.
Kenseth followed Johnson across the finish line for his 6th top 5 of the season. Johnson extended his lead in the Sprint Cup Series point standings to 90 over Mark Martin, who came into the race only 12 behind. Gordon moved up 2 spots to 3rd and is 135 behind with Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch rounding out the top 5 as the series heads to Martinsville Speedway for next Sunday's Tums Fast Relief 500.
Next weekend's Gold Coast V8 event will honour the enormous contribution of the Brabham family to Australian and international motorsport. Sir Jack, his son Jeff and grandson Matthew will all be in attendance as Sir Jack celebrates the 50th anniversary of the first of his 3 World Championship crowns. The Brabham family will also be at the 2009 historic Sandown meeting on November the 7th and 8th. Sir Jack is the patron of the VHRR and Jeff and Matthew will both take part in on-track activities. Sir Jack is no stranger to the event. In 1996 he was the guest of honour, back then driving both his 1966 champion winning car and a Mustang touring car. Back then, a fledgling community television show called In Pit Lane journeyed to Sandown to check out the action. The result was this, a moment in time. This VHS copy is sadly the only one we still have, but as we celebrate Sir Jack's remarkable achievements, I thought it was worth looking back at the moment in time, presented by a long-haired, uncouth youth of the day in very dodgy sunglasses and Rick Astley coat.
The 1996 Tattersalls Historic Sandown is a tribute to Australia's most successful international racing driver, Sir Jack Brabham. In 1959 and 1960, Brabham won the first of his 3 world titles in the British-built Cooper Climax car. But it was in 1966 that Brabham earned his place in international motorsport history, when he became the first and only driver to ever win the World Formula One crown in a car of his own design and construction. That car was a Repco Brabham BT19.
Of relatively simple space frame construction, the BT19 was, like its driver, understated but most effective. Light in weight and easy to maintain, the car broke no new ground, except perhaps for its 3-litre Repco power plant. Built right here in Melbourne, Australia, it had a most unlikely parentage.
The idea was a Buick block. The first engine was a Buick block, and I found that in the States and decided that was going to be the block to build the engine around, and brought it to Repco, and Repco designed the rest of the engine around it. And then, of course, by the end of the year, we'd also had our own block, so we had a complete engine for the following year.
The car was fairly simple in design. Do you think that was a reason why it was so successful, that you didn't try to reinvent the wheel?
Well, yeah, there's 2 reasons probably. One, the engine was very simple, and the engine had a lot of torque. It was a very flexible engine to drive, which made it very good to drive, in fact. And also, I suppose we caught everybody else on the jump as well, because having the Repco engine there so early on, when the 3-litre Formula came, was a big help because a lot of the other people weren't ready as well.
You also, this weekend, stepping into a Mustang. Did you do a lot of saloon car racing?
Not a lot, but I did about 3 years of saloon car racing, and 1965, I think it was, I won the saloon car championship in England, driving a Mustang similar to what I'm driving this weekend.
In the old days, that used to happen a lot where Formula One drivers would drive in other classes. It doesn't seem to happen much. Do you regret that?
No, it doesn't actually, but in those days, of course, I used to drive saloon cars, Formula 2 and Formula 1, and sometimes 3 races on the one day. And in fact, one year I can remember I'd done 53 races in the year. It was a lot of races because a lot of weekends having 3 events, and then sometimes you'd have a holiday weekend. We'd race on the Saturday, perhaps in Europe, come back to England and race on the Monday in England. So there was a lot of racing, and the drivers today, of course, don't do anything like that.